Hey YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and welcome to another Making a Beat video. Today we'll be remaking from scratch Maroon 5's latest track featuring Kendrick Lamar, Don't Wanna Know, and we're going to be using nothing but Logic's stock sounds and stock plugins. I always do that so I can show you that you create songs with actual stock sounds that come with your DAW. As well, it's a little bit of a challenge to myself as well, so let's get to it. The first thing that we're going to do is change the tempo to 100 BPMs. And we're going to bring in our first instrument. Actually, you know what? Let's just start with the piano here and put in our chords. Something like that. Let's create a 4-bar loop here. And let's draw in a MIDI region. Now, I did figure out these chords beforehand as usual. So it's not like I'm figuring it out right now. I kind of drew it out beforehand. Just going to push that up an octave. Maybe one more octave. Let's just copy up that over. Let's lose the bottom notes. Okay, we're getting there. Let's copy this set over. Let's create the loop here. I think that's it. Yeah, let's go ahead and copy that over. And then over here, it's sort of a little subtle accent over here. So let's just add it in at the end. I think it's something like that. All right, so this is how it sounds like so far for our melody. All right, sounds good so far. What we're going to do here is simply change the sound from piano. We're going to bring in Logic's sculpture here. And this melody is pretty much going to be the driving factor for the entire track. And my opinion, the sound in the track sounds like it's a marimba. So I'm just going to go to mallet instruments and go to classic marimba. So right away, you could kind of hear that sound that you heard in the track. Just going to pull this back a little bit. And push this more to the nylon side. All right, that sounds pretty good. Let's just move forward with that. Next thing that we're going to do here is do a classic thing that a lot of kind of tropical house producers does, and a lot of, I guess, EDM producers. They offset their notes from each other, their chord stabs. So I'm going to leave my first one locked into place. My second chord is going to be offset from the first one. Sorry, my second note will be offset from the first one. And let's just push that off ever so slightly. It's going to give us a nice little timbre to the sound. And then we're going to take our third note in the chord and offset that from the second note. Let's just zoom in so we see what we're doing. And we get something like this. Rather than just quick stabs. Kind of rules. All right, sounds good from there. Next thing that we're gonna do is just work in sort of chronological order how the song progresses. So let's go ahead and create that that vocal future bass sort of melody at the beginning of the track. What I'm gonna do here is just bring in a vocal sound here. Now it's not gonna be exact because, well, for vocals you usually need the exact sound. You can't really recreate that. Let's just work with that one. Let's bring that in here. And we're going to take that first hit that he does here for the Andre of Improv 6. Let's go ahead and convert that to a new sampler track. And now we're going to recreate that vocal melody. Open up EXS24, go to Edit. And I'm just going to drag the value pitched up and pitched down so we can play our sample either higher or in a lower octave. Let's go and close that. We'll save it. And let's go ahead and draw in our MIDI. Okay, so this vocal melody I'm going to do from scratch here. I don't really remember what I did. All right, so something like that. Just gonna copy that over. Let's copy that over one more time. And then let's see here. I think we're going to go up here. So I'm a little lost right now. Let me just close this here. Should be moved over. I think we got it. Let's go ahead and quantize this. Let's just open up our EXS24 And we're just going to add in some glide in between the notes. Let's just go ahead and add in a nice reverb. Let's use Space Designer for this one. Okay, let's just go to a medium. Let's do a plate verb. Let's see what happens. All right, let's just go with that one. It's going to lower the volume. All right, perfect. Maybe let's add in a quick delay here. And I'm just going to use a tape delay. I'm going to use my classic setting here. EDM delay, pull down the wetness a little bit. All right, we're moving along in the track. Let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. And we're going to bring in Logic's EXS24. And let's bring in, go to factory, drums and percussion. Actually, let's go to GarageBand rather. It's off my screen here. And I'm going to bring in the Rock Band kit, or the Rock kit, if I can find it. Here it is right here. And we're going to go ahead and locate a crash so we can get a reverse crash happening here. Let's record that. All right, so we got our crash. Let's go ahead and quantize that. Quantize 8. Let's go ahead and bounce that. Let's go ahead and bounce that in place. And we are getting there, guys, I promise. And let's go to File and reverse that audio. All right, let's go ahead and lower that. We don't need it so loud. And next, let's put in another rocket over here. Let's just duplicate this track here. And I'm going to bring in that classic sound that a lot of producers are using today. It's sort of a nice swishy sound. There it is right there. All right, perfect. And now let's move on to the next section of our track. All right, so what I think this track is missing is some cowbell. So let's go ahead and bring in some cowbell here to kind of add to the top end of this melody over here. So let's go ahead and bring in a new software instrument track. And this time we're going to bring in Logic's Drum Machine Designer. And let's just go ahead and work with this here and change this to a nice cowbell. All right, let's use that one over there, create a new region for our MIDI. Actually, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to copy down this MIDI from here because it's going to follow the same pattern. So let's go here. Let's just take our top value here and push it down to the cowbell. Perfect. Let's just quantize that. Let's make it sound better. Perfect. Let's go ahead and just push this up a little bit. Actually, let's add that in the first part as well. Now we're going to add in a nice clap here because that's what happens in the track itself. So let's go back to our piano roll right here and add in a clap. Let's just use this clap here for the tutorial's sake. All right, that sounds good right there. Next, let's go ahead and just add in some elements to this marimba. Gonna duplicate this here. Actually, I'm just gonna type in marimba here. And I'm just gonna get a different type of marimba to kind of shadow it. And let's go ahead and bring in the, let's bring in wood marimba here. Just gonna copy this down. I'm just gonna solo the two for a second here. I'm going to bring another element here just to fill out that pluck chord stab sound, if you will. I'm going to copy down the MIDI once again, and I'm going to bring like a percussive sound here. I'm just going to type in percussion, see what comes up. Let's see this percussive hits here. Let's bring it with our cowbell here. All right, that sounds good. So this is what we have so far. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next section of the track. Actually, both these need to be in play. Okay, so moving on to the next section of our track, I'm just going to copy over this entire section because it's going to essentially duplicate itself. I'm going to copy this classic marimba over here. I'm going to copy the MIDI down because we're going to create a higher octave of this pattern, or at least a section of the pattern. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to use this middle progression right here. Something like that, and I'm going to push it up one full octave. So just go over here, click on our region, and go transpose up one full octave. So that's pretty much for that section, and then it goes into the verse part, or at least the first verse of the track. So I'm just going to move on. Push this to over here. Going to copy over once again our entire section from there, and it kind of drops out for a bar, or at least until the first clap here. Let's go ahead and just cut that out. Whoa. That's not where I wanted to cut. So I take this out. So out of the chorus. And into the verse 1. So I'm just going to add in some drums here. At least the kick part of the drums. So I'm going to copy this over. I'm just going to put in the kick first. I'm just going to play. All right, that's pretty much the kick pattern right there. Let's go ahead and choose a better kick. Let's use this one over here. All right, that sounds good. What I'm gonna do here is just mute the first part here. And also that comes into this section of the track is the bass line. So let's go ahead and create that. I'm gonna create a new software instrument track. And I'm gonna bring in a preset that I've always used in pretty much a lot of my songs. I use it for a lot of my basses, for my bass. If I can find it. It's under ES2 and the bass setting is my 808 preset. Instead of a kick, I'm gonna turn it into more of a bass. So again, let's copy down this region over here. So our main melody. Obviously, we're gonna have to pitch that down a whole lot. So we're also gonna use a melody. We're just gonna take the root notes of our chords. So here to here to here. Everything else can go. So we get a bass line like this. And that's a little bit too kicky, so let's go ahead and make this more bassy. So something like that is good to go. Let's just go ahead and push this back here to start somewhere here, let's say. Let's hear how that sounds as it drops into verse 1. right, so our bass sounds good just like that. All right, so for the verses as well, this main melody over here, it kind of gets pumped or sort of gets ducked with a kick. So let's go ahead and create a Go sidechain right now. Let's see here. Let's actually just duplicate this track, and this is going to be our ducking marimba one. So I'm going to push this down over here, and I'm going to create a new software instrument track. And on the software instrument track, we're going to bring in utility Klopfgeist, and we're going to create a silent sidechain here. So let's put in a pattern here, just on the unusual C's. So we're just going to do the basic 4 to the floor kind of pumping sound. But we don't need this to make a sound, so let's go ahead and send this to no output. Actually, let's go ahead and bus it out actually. Our output will be to a bus, but let's go to the last bus in our track so we don't get it confused with any other one. So bus 64. And we're going to set this to no output so we don't hear it at all. Next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go to our marimba sound that we're going to be pumping, getting a pumping effect. Going to bring in Logic's compressor. We're going to head on over to our sidechain and bring in bus 64 because that is our sort of sidechain effect track. We're going to hit sidechain over here. We're going to make sure our detection is on peak. We're going to turn off auto gain and turn off auto release. We're going to make our attack a fast attack and our release also quick as well. We're going to pull our ratio up to about 5:1. And we're going to pull our threshold down to get that pumping effect. And now with the track itself, it's going to sound like this. But we don't need this part, or the percussive hit for this section. And the beauty about creating a sidechain effect like this is that you can kind of program in where you want that sidechain by just drawing in the MIDI itself, which is always helpful in the use of these tracks here. So actually I missed this section here. I'm just going to push this to there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next section of the track. And this is where a lot of stuff happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this over because we're going to redo this here or reuse this section. Let's push back our piano here. Or what is this, our bass line? I should really rename these tracks so I don't get confused. Maybe we'll do it at the end. So we got our bass line intact. We're going to push this back so we have this intact. This is our classic marimba line. So I'm just going to pull this down to here. And we're going to make sure that we have our sidechain still going. So for our drums, maybe we'll start with our drums. Where is our drums here? Let's unmute this. And we get some hi-hat action happening. Let's just go to, let's go view drum names. And let's get in a hi-hat going here. Let's just bring in the brush tool. It's going to be a lot faster. Let's just adjust that sound. I don't really like that hi-hat sound. All right, that sounds good there. And we're going to add in a nice pad. So we're going to create a new software instrument track. And for this one, we're going to also be using a preset or a tutorial that I did, I think a while back. We're going to bring in my Kygo pad, because it's sort of a tropical house pad. And this song is kind of a little bit tropical housey. Let's go Kygo pad here. And we're going to copy down once again our main melody. And the pad will be working off of that. So instead of it being a plucky pad, we're going to make it a chord. So let's go ahead and just cut out all of this extra junk. And then stretch this out to a full chord. And then we're going to quantize this because I don't want these notes to be offset. And maybe I want this to be 1 octave higher. And I also want this pad to pump as well, so we're going to bring in Logic's compressor. Once again, we're going to use the same sidechain from up here. And it is bus 64. I should probably rename that so we understand what's going on. But bus 64 is our sidechain trigger. Once again, turn on peak. Turn off auto release, turn off auto gain. Bring your release down to a quick release, somewhere around 7 milliseconds, and your tack also quick, around 2 milliseconds. Ratio 5:1. And your knee doesn't make much of a difference, just your ratio and threshold is what really plays into part here. And we're going to pull down our threshold here. So maybe we'll push up the ratio a little bit more there. We'll push the attack a little bit slower as well. Just to kind of get the swell a little bit longer. And let's hear how that sounds with the track. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is going to copy this over once again. The same section is going to pretty much repeat itself, except this time the kick is going to be forward to the floor and not a sort of a trappy pattern, if you will. So let's go ahead and just draw in our kicks on the ones. Boom, boom, boom. And since I'm lazy, I don't want to draw that in for the whole time. We're just going to go ahead and copy over this. And we get something like this. So this is essentially the pre-chorus. So stuff is going to get dropped out here like this. Actually, we're going to keep this marimba pattern going. But what we're going to do here, they kind of filter out the highs. So in our EQ, we're just going to cut out the highs here. And we're actually going to take out the pad as well. I'm me just reset this here. Recall defaults. And on this one, I'm just going to cut the release down a little bit. So it doesn't drag out as long. And then it goes into the chorus. So what we're going to do here is we're going to copy over this section over here, which is our main guy. Let's just actually use this one. And everything is going to come into play. So let's bring this back into play. Our sort of verse drums are coming back into play. Oh, what's that? That's our pad, which is actually going to come into our play. Our bass line is going to come into play. But this pattern for our drums. Sorry guys, I'm getting a little confused here. What's going on? This is what happens when you don't name your tracks. Let's see what's going on here. So we got our classic marimba here. We got our high marimba here. Yeah, we're good. The only difference here is that we want those hi-hats. So let's go ahead and find those hi-hats. Where's our drum track? So we want these style hi-hats. Let's just put those in here. Is that the same sound? The hi-hats are a little bit high. I'm just going to bring that down. Let's go ahead and bring in the last piece to this puzzle. I'm going to duplicate this over and over again, 2 sections, so another 8 bars. And we are going to bring in a new softer instrument track. And we're just going to bring in an electric guitar here. So let's just do British stack lead. And once again, we're going to copy down this pattern. As I said at the beginning of the video, this pattern pretty much is used throughout the entire track. So let's just go ahead and take a section of this chord stabs. So let's take this melody right here. And make sure it's just a long, sort of drawn out guitar strum. Let's just make that a little longer. Let's see 1 octave higher. No, let's leave it at this octave. Maybe for our drums, we'll add in a nice snare just to kind of make this a little fuller sounding. Let's see if we can find a snare here. Sure. And that is pretty much our track in a nutshell there. just this pre-chorus part. I'm just gonna bring in the pad here as well. Let's just go ahead and do a quick mastering here. We'll dynamics compressor. And we'll bring in compressor by tools. And we're gonna go to platinum analog tape. All right, next thing that we're gonna do is gonna bring in Logic's multipressor. And I'm gonna use a classic setting that I always use. And it's the EDM master that I've created for myself. And let's take a listen to it from the beginning. Actually, I'm also gonna bring in a limiter. Let's just push it like that. And here we go. Here's the song that we just remade. And that is pretty much the track by Maroon 5, Don't Wanna Know, featuring Kendrick Lamar. For you Logic users out there, I am going to go ahead and save this as a session and place that as a link in the description box below so you download this, have fun with this session. For you non-Logic users out there, I'm actually going to go ahead and save out all these MIDI stems so you can import the MIDI and create this song from scratch using the DAW of your choice. If you do have any questions on this, you can ask me in the comment section below. And for more great videos like this one, remember, thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all in the next one. Talk to y'all soon. Later. Peace.